Hello everyone, I'm Maddie.
And I'm Amber.
And we're
Witches Talking Tarot.
And today we're going to be discussing the werewolf.
Oh, I wasn't planning on doing it, sorry.
And we're not we're not just talking Twilight werewolves, which I will be bringing up.
Damn, I was hoping not.
Well, you know, like the Twilight werewolves aren't even werewolves, which is revealed in the end. Spoiler alert. They're not even werewolves, they're just shapeshifters. So maybe they'll be discussed in a different episode.
Which poses a question I was going to bring up in this episode, which is, do you think of werewolves and shapeshifters as the same thing?
No. And here's why. For me, anyway.
Shapeshifters can go multiple shapes.
Shapeshifters can elect. Not to quote Hermione Granger from Harry Potter 3, The Prisoner of Azkaban. An animagus can elect to choose when he elect his trans whatever.
A werewolf cannot.
A werewolf cannot, and a werewolf has no memory.
And what's funny is I'm realizing as we start this episode, our werewolf pop culture is probably way the fuck different.
Oh, it definitely is. It definitely is. Because, like, I'm over here like Harry Potter.
I'm like Twilight. Ginger Snaps and fucking American, Ugly Americans and
Teen Wolf.
Teen Wolf.
I do love Teen Wolf.
Never saw the show, but I love the movies.
I love both of them. Actually, yeah. I do. The movies are great. The movies are so dumb.
Michael J. Fox.
I mean, they're so good, but, like, I know a werewolf ain't about to be walking to fucking school in a werewolf fucking outfit. Like, or, like, attire.
But if he's, like, famous for being a werewolf and everybody loves it.
Oh, my God. It's so dumb. It's, like, but it's so good. But it's so good. Like, you know.
It is.
Oh, my God. Michael J. Fox was kind of a babe. You know what? I did. Like, what, you weren't attracted to him? I thought he was cute as hell. Michael J. Fox? No?
No. Michael J. Fox was on Family Ties, and he was the annoying Republican child. And no, I have I like Michael J. Fox best in The Frighteners, which is an amazing movie. If you haven't seen it, it's hilarious. It's a ghost movie. And I like him in Spin City, where he's like the mayor of New York's 8, I think.
You don't like Back to the Future?
I mean, I like Back to the Future, but I don't think he's like super cute or anything. And he's not my favorite part of those movies at all. I'm more attracted to his girlfriend in those movies than I am to him.
To be honest, my favorite part of Back to the Future is Biff and Biff's family. They're
fucking
so funny.
Say, I like tall guys, and Michael J. Fox is anti-tall guy. I mean...
But Teen Wolf is a good one.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I like his movies. I'm just not attracted to him. Like, there were so many movies in the 80s, 90s era that Michael J. Fox was in. Like, I'm thinking of one I watched a lot where he was like, he worked on Wall Street as a teenager or something. I don't know. It's in there. Like, I watched it a lot, but I don't know what it was called or anything.
I feel like there's a TV show that I watched him on, and maybe it's what you said. I'm not sure.
Spin City?
No, it's a TV show.
Family Ties? Well, Spin City is a TV show.
Maybe it is Family Ties. I don't know. He was the big brother.
Was he really young, and did he usually wear a tie?
No. I don't know.
I can't remember any other TV show when he was younger. I just remember Family Ties. And I remember Spin City, and I fucking love Spin City. That's a great show. It's funny.
Now, on the topic of werewolves, there's so many different ways that...
Because there's more than just Michael J. Fox.
Right.
Sorry, guys.
There's so many different ways that not just pop culture, but legends as well describe how they are.
Yeah.
You've got the Van Helsing pop culture, where they're like big, buff, like creatures that are like literally half man, half werewolf.
And then you've got the underworld werewolves, where they're like hitting them against each other, like fighting like gladiator werewolves. God, I love underworld werewolves.
Weird. Like I
can't say underworld quite right tonight.
I forgot about underworld.
I
hate them. They're so ugly. Excuse me, guys. It's late.
I mean, before he's a werewolf, what is it, Michael Sheehan or whatever?
My God, that's Aro from Twilight.
I don't know who that is, but I didn't remember.
But yeah, he's high. He's high.
Oh, I do remember. I do.
Weird looking.
Yeah. Whatever. I choose to think of him as werewolf guy
oh, such a sad movie.
It is so sad. He kills his own daughter. You bastard.
Yeah, fuck you.
Oh,
but
fuck you.
Great actor though. We love that guy. He's so good.
Yeah.
He's in Pirates of the Caribbean.
I like the daughter better. That actress.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But there's so many different ways people see him. Like you said, then there's the Harry Potter one. Not a fan of the Harry Potter one. I don't like skinny werewolves. Werewolves are already scary, and that one was so
It was
scary.
creepy. It was like crackhead werewolf.
Well, granted, Lupin kind of had that crackheady.
Yeah, I know. That's what I like. I had nowhere to go out with that because I was like, well, it's kind of an accurate description.
That's such a really sad movie as well because let me just say there was somebody online who was arguing that werewolves were just I have to bring this up, okay? I don't think it's controversial, so I'm sorry if it is, okay? Somebody online was arguing that werewolves were just a way to normalize domestic violence because werewolves attack their significant others often. But it's called the Curse of the Werewolf
For a
because
reason.
they can't help her.
Well, and they can't control themselves. Like, that's part of the thing of being a werewolf is the animal side takes over. You don't usually even have a memory. Oh my God, Michelle Pfeiffer werewolf movie. Why wasn't I thinking about that? Jack Nicholson's a fucking werewolf. It's called Wolf. Such a good movie.
Oh, I think I've seen that.
I love that movie.
Yes,
I totally forgot about it until I was
American
talking.
Werewolf in London.
Yeah, I never really watched the American Werewolf in London or Paris movies. Not my cup of tea. I don't know. I like the soundtrack for the one.
Oh no.
Yeah.
But anyway, like the Curse of the Werewolf,
They can't help themselves.
and also like
Oh shit! Ew, gross.
What?
I see the comparison.
Yes, right, like it's like a thing, but it's like it's not a thing.
But like werewolf movies, right? Is that what they're saying? Like werewolf pop culture is
I think
justifying domestic violence? It's like that's not the point. You're obviously reading way too much into this horror movie if
Also,
you're getting
like,
that message out of it.
Lupin didn't mean to hurt Sirius Black in Harry Potter. Like he just, God, I do see it now. Like he just couldn't control himself.
Right? Like when you're speaking it, you're like, oh crap. It feels like, oh man, like they got me. They got me good. But like even like in the original werewolf movies from like 1930 or whatever, that's like one of the most famous things or whatever, right? She's like, it's the curse of the werewolf. And she's got that cool shit on her head.
Right.
It's all black and white, and he's like in ripped up clothes, and he's like, I don't want to hurt anybody. And she's like, sorry about you, man. You got to kill the original werewolf. So
You say it
either
like
way,
that.
you got to kill somebody.
You say it like that, and it's almost Frankenstein-y. You know what I mean?
Well, and really, like, so Mike Tyson Mysteries has an episode where this kid's like, I think I'm a werewolf, but I'm not sure because I never have a second date with a girl. And Mike Tyson does not listen to him at all while he's talking. So he sets him up on a date with his daughter so that she can see, like, what's so bad about the guy. Anyway, he turns into a werewolf and, like, tries to kill her. And then he shows up as the wolf, and he's like, as the wolf, he's like, I really like you, and I want us to go somewhere. And she's like, oh, wow. And she kisses him, and then he turns back into a person. But then Mike Tyson shoots him with a silver bullet anyway, because that's how the show goes.
Dude, on American Dad, do you remember that? Steve thinks he's been away.
Yes! Van Helsing shows up, and he's like, you don't joke about that.
Oh,
because Stan makes him think that he's been attacked by a wolf in his sleep, right?
Yeah, something
Or,
like that.
right,
no,
because the muffin, the wolf in the muffin. I know there's a muffin involved. I know what you're talking about. I remember that episode. Because I remember, like, Steve... Oh, the Van Helsing one is, they're not related. Never mind. Because there is an episode where Steve's like, if you make me go to that private school, I'll just howl like a wolf. And then, like, Van Helsing busts through the window. And Stan's like, no, nobody's really a wolf here. Like, we're fine. It's cool. And Van Helsing's like, you don't joke about that. And then he goes back out the window. But that is not the same episode as when Steve thinks he's a werewolf because he has been like
and his friends are
like feeding into it.
Right,
right?
exactly, yes.
That shit's hilarious. I totally forgot about that. That's so funny.
I love me some werewolves. I love me some werewolf romances, though they're not as common as vampire romances. And what is with the theory that werewolves are vampires sworn in? Because that's in a lot of pop culture.
I wonder if it has to do with the fact that werewolf and vampire legend, like when I was reading about the werewolf stuff, and I remember when I was reading about vampire stuff too, like there's a lot of crossover, especially in Eastern Europe, with their vampire and their werewolf lore. And like the creatures themselves, like the Greeks have like some weird crossover creature that has a long name that I can't remember and didn't write down, but sorry. Like, I wonder if because their lore was so connected that once it came down to us, now we're like, oh, well, they must be like against each other because, I don't know. Because, like, I don't know, in Monster Squad, the werewolf and the vampire work together. Wolfman's got nards. Sorry, that was for all my 80s babies out there. I love Monster Squad. That is one of my favorite werewolf movies. I love that movie. It's cool. It's great. It's a group of kids against a group of monsters. And Frankenstein is on the kids' side.
I love Frankenstein. Damn
It's
it,
a
we
gentle
need to do an
giant.
episode on him.
Yes.
Dude, no, there was like this somebody.
Well, and reanimated corpses in general.
Right. Somebody made this post on Facebook. It was like a meme, like a screenshot, and it was like, all these snowflakes now, or all the kids nowadays are such snowflakes. They're now trying to say that Frankenstein has feelings. And somebody was like, that's the point
of the book.
That's
I saw
the
that
point
meme.
of the fucking...
That is the entire point of the book. Thank you.
You mean they're actually reading? He was misunderstood.
Still burned that Witch of Blackbird Pond is on the banned books list. Fuck you guys. It was one of my favorite books growing up.
Jamie Jones is on the fucking banned book list because she has a attitude, and it's not a good thing for kids to look up to. And I told Bryson that, and I was like, wait, you know what that sounds like? Somebody not liking an outspoken female character.
Well, as a mother,
She did
I
that.
will say, I didn't read Jeannie B. Jones, but my oldest daughter did, and you've met her attitude. So, all I can say about that. But back to werewolves. So they are all throughout pop culture because they've been throughout our history for like ever, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we've got werewolf lore going way back past before the Middle Ages, when there were the werewolf trials that coincided with the witch trials in Europe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I said all that right. Yeah. So, so some werewolf stuff shows them as like a wolf. Some of it shows them as like a half wolf, half man.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
I like the idea of someone being able to fully transform into a wolf.
Okay.
I love the aesthetic. I like the idea. I think it's beautiful. Spiritually speaking, I think it's gorgeous. Werewolf speaking, I don't think it's physically possible.
So
I mean, I could say that about anything.
okay, so you think it's more likely that if somebody is able to shift,
physically shift, it would probably
be a
more.
shapeshifter versus a werewolf.
Like, if someone is able to physically, like, on a physical plane, shift into
An entire wolf, like it looks just like a wolf.
I don't think that's possible.
You don't think that's werewolf? Like, so werewolves to you are the half man, half
Yes.
beast.
Now, spiritually speaking, I think it might sound crazy. I think it depends on the transformation, maybe, because if they're gonna be all like bones cracking and shit, like horror movie werewolf,
Like Trick or Treat.
then it's going to be like half man, half wolf standing up. If it's spiritually speaking, if it's a beautiful sequence where the person fades with like this yellow gold energy into a wolf spirit,
Okay.
I like that one better. But I think probably what I just said.
The half man, the beast.
Yes.
Versus the wolf, like the beautiful.
I think
wolf.
they're two different things, yeah.
I don't know. Like when I think of werewolf, I don't think like. Sorry, guys. That water went down.
No,
the wrong
it's okay.
pipe.
I'm looking through my straw because I'm using a biodegradable straw, and there's something in there. And I'm pissed because I've been drinking it this whole time, and I'm like, this tastes weird. What the fuck? It's in my biodegradable straw. Is it degrading in my mouth? I think I just sent you that fucking meme that was like when the straw gets mushy. I think that's what the fuck is happening. And I'm like, well, I'm not drinking that anymore. What the fuck?
I like the idea of shifting completely into a wolf, but I think that is more of a shapeshifter or a fairy tale witch kind of thing.
Yeah. Or to me, it's like a nature spirit.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as werewolves themselves go, I always have pictured like the most wolfly it would be like the big bad wolf out of Little Red Riding Hood, you know what I mean? Where I've never pictured him as just a regular wolf. He's like always been on two legs. He's always had broad chest, shoulder thing going on like an actual man would have. So it's been something of a half man, half wolf, but definitely more wolf's clothing, right? Whereas when I think werewolf, I do think a little less pretty because it's gonna be like fucked up looking, like the howling and shit.
The way you said that, it does remind me of fucking that scene from Harry Potter when he's like were and wolf, were being man, wolf, and then he like goes on and on.
Oh my god, I'm not as familiar with Lupin. I'm not gonna lie. Like my favorite Harry Potter movies would definitely be the first one and the later ones, but the Lupin one,
I do love the last one. I can't lie, the last one is fucking awesome.
I don't know. Like my favorite werewolves are definitely the ladies out of Trick or Treat, because Anna Paquin, she's like.
Oh shit! They got werewolves on True Blood too. Damn, I forgot about that.
Did they?
Oh
Okay.
hell yeah!
Well, and Anna Paquin is a werewolf in Trick or Treat, and Trick or Treat's like my favorite Halloween movie. I fucking love it. I got my mom to watch it the other night.
Oh, we got a new subscriber. Sorry.
Fuck yeah! I got my mom to watch it the other night, and she's like, "This is a good movie." It's like it's hard to keep up with because it goes back and forth in time throughout the entire night, but it's a fucking good movie. And I think my favorite part is the werewolves. I fucking love those ladies because they are predators to the extreme. And props to you, girls.
So this is the alpha werewolf. His name's Alcide, and I'm sure you recognize the actor.
Yeah. Even more so now. It's a good picture.
Dude, I just gotta say, I'm gonna be that bitch and say, pop culture wise, I love werewolves. Like, let's be clear, they're always like, when I think of a werewolf, he's obviously a biker. Like, he obviously rides a Harley, and he's got a leather jacket, and he looks like Alcide from True Blood.
I was like, this is not what I think of, but now I understand why.
Yeah, right? Like, I mean, also, Bryson and I were watching this one movie. I don't even know what... Oh, The Boys. Billy Butcher. He looks like a fucking werewolf. They just have, like, this look. It's, like, this rugged, like, they got, like, this beard. Like, I'll show you a picture, too. Sorry, like...
I don't know. For me, okay, so, hey, pop culture werewolves. 80s kids, do you remember My Stepdad's a Werewolf? Oh my god. Love that movie. Love that movie. It was such a good one. That was a good movie. I used to watch it, and what is it? I wear sunglasses at night, like back to back all the fucking time, because I love that vampire movie too, which I forgot to mention on our vampire episodes. Yes.
So what?
I said yes.
Oh, I thought you said that
yes.
in the shitty way. I was like, no. So like when I see Werewolf, him and that other guy, you see how they share the same features.
Like, you know what? Because like he kind of be looking like Wolverine, and
Wolverine.
Yeah,
you know,
he's got the pre-werewolf thing looking. When I think werewolves, do I think of a specific, like, I am realizing that I like a lot of female werewolf characters because I love Ginger Snaps. I used to watch all those movies when I was younger, and it's about a pair of sisters, and at least one of them's a werewolf, if not both of them.
I'm gonna be that bitch, and I don't like the idea of female werewolves.
Oh.
I know, I realize that's, I don't think it's fucked up, I don't, because, like, I don't know, I guess because the books that I read growing up, there were no female werewolves, and it was addressed in some of those books. The reason why there's no female werewolves is because of this. So I just subscribe to that, I guess. I don't know. And you never see it, I guess. You never see female.
You gotta watch Trick or Treat.
I've never seen it.
They are the baddest bitches. They're so great. Like, it's an old enough movie. Spoiler alert. I'm gonna spoil some shit.
I guess
there
can be female werewolves.
Like, so they have this yearly tradition because they are a female-led pack of werewolves. All the chick werewolves, they get together. They get cute-ass little costumes. They find themselves a date. And, of course, they're fucking hot, so they can get whatever date they want. And they all go out into the woods, and they dance around a bonfire. And then they take their yearly kill. They strip off their skin. And, like, it's really cool the way they changed werewolves, too, because, like, they peel their skin off.
Ew, they do that in Van Helsing. I hate that.
It's so cool. Like, they just toss it aside like fucking rubber. It's pretty cool.
The one from 2007?
Yeah, because it's Treat, not or. Yeah, Trick or Treat. It's such a good movie. And, like, it's fucking good. And they're just, like, the one...
Oh, it's an anthology horror.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Well, but all of them tie in. Like, all the vignettes tie in together. Like, it's a cohesive story where Sam is, like, in all of the vignettes. And they each cross paths with each other. Like, they all cross paths and all of their stories intertwine. It's a fucking good... It's my favorite Halloween movie, and I have a hard time picking favorites. It's good. And I would say it's one of my favorite werewolf movies. Like... It's right up there with Monster Squad, man. It's good.
You know, I say that about female werewolves, but then I remember...
Plus, they're like a female-led pack. Like, it's fucking bomb bitches.
There is an...
Also, they're man-eaters.
Yeah, I love that.
Also, if there's not a werewolf movie out there called Man-Eaters about female werewolves, somebody give it to me, please.
Right? Well, speaking of female werewolves, I just remembered there actually is a legend where a female is a werewolf, and this is one of my favorite werewolf legends.
Because I've read it as a cat.
It is my favorite werewolf legend. Yeah, I mean, it's obviously a story. You can see it as a werewolf, you can see it as whatever. It was also featured in Red Riding Hood,
yeah.
which is basically their...
Which is not my favorite werewolf movie.
I kind of like it.
I like it because the dad be
that's Charlie from Twilight. Daddy.
Yeah.
Like, he's also in Twilight.
He is also pretty age appropriate for me. So
it's funny because the Twilight fandom grew up and everybody calls him Daddy Charlie because damn.
But he has that mustache.
He has the mustache in Twilight, exactly.
He's a woodcutter or some bullshit in the other one.
Yes, it's funny. Anyway.
He's also my tall, dark, and yummy.
Handsome.
Yeah.
So, basically...
And he's a werewolf. All good things.
Spoiler alert.
That's an old movie. Anyway.
So, in the story, or the tale, or the legend, or whatever, there's been, like, a werewolf killing people, so they've been on, like, werewolf hunts. This guy leaves his wife at home to cook dinner, or some shit like that, because they're going on a werewolf hunt. He ends up cutting the werewolf's hand off, and he's like, I cut the werewolf's hand, blah, 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 wraps it up, comes home. His wife's acting all weird. got her back to him, doesn't want to face him. He's like, dude, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? And he's like, look what I found, look what I found. And he opens up the fucking wrap. And it's a woman's hand. And his wife turns around, or he turns his wife around, and her hand is gone.
Yeah. And they do that in
that movie.
Yes. But also,
it's one of my favorite tales.
It's one of my favorite shapeshifter tales, and I read about it in Scary Stories to Read in the Dark.
Right.
Or more Scary Stories to Read in the Dark, and it's a Black Panther. A she panther. And it's a Black Panther that's been terrorizing the town, but it's in the Southwest. Which makes sense why it would be a Black Panther and not a wolf. Because like a lot of the werewolf stories come from European nations where wolves were one of the biggest predators that they had to fear. Like you were mentioning a lot of French, and I saw a lot of German, and wolves were one of their biggest predators. And in Russia as well, wolves and bears are their biggest predators. And in the South, panthers and big cats would be the big predators. Because like in different regions of the world, they have werewolf tales, except they're not werewolves, they're werecats or werehyenas or whatever. So like, I love that story. But it was a black paw that turned into a woman's hand instead of a werewolf paw. But I love that story. It's also one of my favorites.
It's been adapted so many times.
Yeah. Well, and again, like, because it's regional, right? So in Germany or France, it would have been a werewolf, but in South America or the southwestern North America,
or grizzly.
A grizzly. That would make a lot of sense, especially like up in like Alaska ways.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Where the hell are grizzlies? Washington State?
Yeah, like way north. Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck them. I mean, they're beautiful. They're absolutely gorgeous, but fucking no.
I'd rather see that in life. Nope. I don't need to see that in real life.
Yeah, they're huge.
Yeah.
They're America's biggest predator, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Unless you count polar bears. You don't mean North America. You just mean us, America.
United States.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think that's completely accurate. That they're fucking massive and terrifying.
You know, part of me wonders if the giant grizzly bear, because it had more like it was over the United States more than just where it is now. Obviously, before people came.
Right.
Part of me wonders if that has to do with like the Wendigo legend, like, you know, or like there's some Native American legends.
Can't wait to talk about.
I know, right? I know. But like, there's things that were terrorizing Native American tribes. Don't go into the woods. There's this huge monster.
Right. And was it really just a bear?
A huge grizzly bear. Yeah.
Right.
Because like grizzlies used to
they revere bears,
tall.
so they wouldn't want to be like, it's a bear terrorizing us, right? Because it's one of their protectors.
Right. Well, and they used to get huge.
Oh,
when they had no, like...
No people shooting guns at them.
Oh my god, they got enormous.
I believe it, because weren't they evolved from, like, ginormous ass fucking whatever those bigger bears were back in prehistoric times? Alright, before I sound stupid, so what's your favorite, like, because there's different ways that people could be turned into werewolves, right? What's your favorite?
Obviously, it's the fucking bite of the werewolf. Like, that's it. Wait. First of all, I read about a salve. That's lame as fuck. Like, that's lame.
I find the salve stupid. Yeah.
That's dumb.
Yeah.
I do like the idea of putting on a wolf skin, but to me, that's not going to turn you into a werewolf. That's going to do the whole sweet, you know, spiritual shimmer
and now you're into an actual wolf.
Gotcha, to me, that's what I think when I read about the putting on skin.
Yeah, and that makes sense because in Slavic territories, Veles is the god of the underworld and the god of the waters, and he would put on a bear skin or a wolf skin and become like the animal.
See, that's what
And he was a deity, so like it makes sense with the whole
shimmer, pretty fae thing. Now, as for like werewolves that we know, probably gonna be a bite or a scratch. I love the bite or the scratch of the werewolf.
You know, I
Bitten
did
by a
too.
werewolf. Sorry, that's on Ben Helsing.
I totally understand, and it makes the most sense. But in this research, I read that also, which I don't believe I ever had heard of this before, but especially in Russia, they have like this belief that there's an incantation that you say and it turns you into a werewolf. I gotta dig that. Like, it makes it a choice thing. You choose.
It doesn't work. You can't cast a spell to turn yourself into a mermaid or a werewolf.
You know what? Shut up. I still like it.
Like,
I know. I just had shades of that mermaid episode.
I know.
Which, you know what, guys? The mermaid episode hasn't gotten enough love. If you haven't listened to it yet, take a swim in the mermaid waters.
It used to be like a big thing, like on YouTube or like whatever in the early 2000s when YouTube was first coming out and shit. People would be like, this is the spell I used to turn into a mermaid. It really worked. It
Bullshit.
Bullshit.
Are they splashing in the background? I don't think so. It didn't work.
I'm pissed.
No.
Maybe a tea. Maybe a tea.
Oh, drink a tea. Special tea.
Maybe.
So, you know, getting bitten or scratched, incantations, a salve. Are there any other ways? Well, and then, I guess, so there would be hereditary werewolves are brought into play.
I like that.
Right?
I do like hereditary werewolves.
Yeah, so like if your parent's a werewolf, you're going to be a werewolf like in Teen Wolf.
If your mom got bit by a werewolf.
When she was pregnant with you.
Or even when she's not pregnant with you, like, and then she gets pregnant with you. To me, the werewolf is the curse of the werewolf, so you would label it a disease, right? Sometimes pregnant women can pass a disease on to their child.
Yep.
So
no, I can dig it. I like the hereditary thought of the werewolf as well.
I do.
Especially along with the incantation one, because then it's like, I choose to become a werewolf and have a line of werewolves. I know it's lame, guys. Don't care if you judge me. I am who I am. And
you're getting close to lycanthrope. What is it? Lycanthropy? Lycanthropy. Y'all know what the fuck I'm trying to say. Lycanthropy.
Yeah. I'm not saying I want to be a werewolf, but you're right. Yeah, that is pretty close to that.
No, I think...
Apparently I still like that best, though. Yeah, my mind has not changed.
So, basically with lycanthropy, it's where someone actually believes that they can turn into a werewolf. Look, we're not trying to offend anybody because I realize this is on the rise with TikTok and stuff. But, like... That's a mental illness called lycanthropy.
Yeah, I don't know.
But there's only been 54 cases from what I read in the United States from I think it was 1850 something, or at least, maybe it was 1880, to 2005. That's not very many cases. It's a very rare mental illness.
Right.
And most cases happened in the 60s and 70s, which leads me to believe probably has to do with
pop culture.
Drugs.
Oh, drugs.
Yeah.
But also pop culture because, like, movies, like, about that kind of thing were starting to come out, or those people would have been watching.
Well, I was thinking psychedelics as well.
Yeah, no,
people
that makes
are,
sense.
like, on drugs, and they're like, I feel my skin turning into, like, you guys look at me. And everybody's just like, bro, you need to sleep that one off, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think about lycanthropy that much, but I think that some people probably got put to death during those werewolf trials in the 1700s. Maybe a few did have lycanthropy.
And they actually thought?
You know, they thought, really, I'm a wolf. I need blood to survive. I need to live in the woods. I need to prey on small children.
From the King of the Hill episode. Have you
seen
it?
Yes, he got bit by the raccoon and he thinks he has rabies. Which leads us to rabies because I think that is much more likely and scary as far as werewolfy stuff goes. Like, rabies, like, if I get bit by a rabid thing and, like, if I am bit by a rabid bat, I may not even know in time to get treatment.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And so
that's
like, that
why,
shit could
honestly,
really happen.
If I were to get bit by like a mouse
Oh,
or a bat, I'd probably just go immediately to the ER and get the shots anyway. Because you can get them
like,
anyway. It's not going to hurt you if you have it or not.
But some bats, they have a way of biting you that you like won't even know. Like,
I
you
don't
won't
think
feel
they're in
it.
America because those bats drink blood, and because I watched a documentary on that, and what it is their saliva has a numbing agent.
And they are in Texas.
Oh, they are?
I believe they're in the southern U.S.
Okay, I didn't
I'm like
know
I'm almost positive because there was a Lou Diamond Phillips movie in the 90s about bats. I think it's called Bats. I think it's called John Carpenter's Bats. I could be wrong. Feel free to correct me. I don't give a fuck. But like, I learned a bit about bats during all the bat movies that I watched. And I'm pretty sure vampire bats do exist in the southern U.S.
Also, I had no idea when you get bitten by an animal with rabies. Shout out to the guy that threw the rabid cats.
Yeah, go you, dude.
Dude, he was like, son of a bitch. Or, dude,
that bobcat was gonna fuck him up.
Well, dude,
it did fuck him up. What am I saying?
It fucked both of them up.
Yeah.
Dude. Apparently, they had to get like 57 shots because it was rabid. I thought it was just a one-shot, one and done.
Oh no, it's a painful series. I heard.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was that many. I heard it was like a series.
Oh, I think
of
it was between the two of them. So it was like,
but like I heard it was like horribly painful, and you have to get it in your stomach, like directly, just shot right in the stomach.
You know,
I don't know.
But the scary thing about rabies is once you start showing symptoms, it's too late.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what scares me about rabies is like that.
Thank God it's not common at all. Like I think there's been 3 people that have died from rabies
nowadays.
Yeah.
Oh,
but
nowadays.
Like
back then, I think it was probably pretty common, which is probably where werewolf legends kind of evolved from. I think. That's my guess.
It makes me sad, rabies, because I had watched a mini documentary on it, which actually made me really sick, because there was a guy that did have rabies that they documented. They didn't give him rabies as a science experiment. That would be cruel and unusual.
Yeah, that would be horrible.
He had already documented. Yes. So they were taking advantage while they could to document it.
Okay.
It actually makes you terrified of water. It's not, oh, I'm thirsty, I can't drink. It's, I'm terrified. It's hydrophobia.
Right.
And then you start having hallucinations, and these are not normal hallucinations.
They're fear-induced, right?
Yes. So the guy, oh, I got chills because it's so scary. The guy it was terrified. That's why they're aggressive. That's why animals are aggressive. That's why you're aggressive, because you're scared. Terrified.
You're just in a constant state of defending yourself.
Yes. And his family came in and they were trying to calm him down. Didn't recognize him. Had no idea who they were. Because the rabies germ or whatever
it
eats
your brain.
Your brain.
Yeah.
It eats a certain.
That's why there's like once you start showing symptoms, it's too late because you can't be saved. Right?
Fuck that. It's actually I'm scared.
It's terrifying.
It's
yeah.
Scary.
Like it is. That's why like. When I talk about not going up to wild animals, there's a lot of reasons, and that's.
Me either. I'll watch them from afar. I love them very much, but I can't.
Yeah, no, I'm a dumbass, but I'm not gonna
also,
go out
did you
like
know
that.
Cat scratch fever is like
a thing?
It's
Yeah,
like super
totally.
common, which is weird because I used to get scratched by cats all the time, but it can fucking kill you.
I didn't know it could kill you. I just knew it could like make you sick or go crazy.
Very sick. Yeah, you have to go to the ER. I had no idea because I guess they have like a bacteria on their claws or whatever, which makes sense because they dig in the litter and you know. But like, I didn't realize it was like a super common like big thing because I grew up with like 12 cats at a time, living outside and inside cats, and I was scratched often.
Yeah, well, and my mom got cat scratch fever from my former stepfather's indoor-outdoor cat that, like, it was his cat, and when my mother moved in, he was like, fuck you, bitch. And, like, eventually he loved her, but he was still too rough with her. But, like, when he'd scratch her, she'd get, like, bad infection and stuff. She had to go to the doctor. Yeah.
Do you hear that? What is that? Is that something outside?
Probably far off train or something.
Oh, maybe.
I mean,
you heard
time of night,
right?
yeah.
Huh.
Time of night seems about right. We have trains in Joplin, one of them quaint little things, little town stuff. But, okay, so...
It's so funny you call Joplin a little town, because my town is literally smaller than half of Joplin.
I know, but I was born in Houston. So
right,
I mean,
and you were in Memphis, too, so it's little to you. To me, it's a big city.
Yeah, like, I've lived in Miami, I've lived in Philadelphia, I've lived in Houston, I've lived in Memphis, yeah. I like this town, though. I mean, that's why we stayed here. But, yeah. To me, it is a little town. That's why I like it. But, also, like, it just seems to me that I don't see trains go through big, big towns. It seems like a quaint, small town thing to me.
Really?
Yeah. But then again, like, there was a train that went through Memphis. So, like, it is a me thing. It's a me thing. The quaint, small towns and trains thing. It is a Whistle Stop Cafe. That is what that is. Sorry, it was like a whole mental process to get to that. But what I was going to say is my favorite thing about werewolves is, like, werewolf culture, like the were thing. It's like regional, and they all have their own were creatures. I love that. And I wonder, like, do you know of a cure other than wolfsbane and silver bullets for werewolf?
I don't think there is a cure.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't think there is a... Like, outside, like...
No, I mean, like, legend-wise, I can't think of anything.
Well, wolfsbane, I know it was a cure, but it usually killed people. It didn't cure them because it poisoned them. And there was 2 other things that they said, but that also killed people.
To me, silver kills them. But is it a cure?
I guess
I'll Google
it. I guess it would be a cure for the soul, right? Because your soul would go back to being human, so you could like, go to heaven or whatever. And not be like a bane of hell. But speaking of a bane of hell, one dude back in, what was it, the 1800s, 1700s? 1692. 1692, this guy whose name was like Olus something or something. I don't remember his name, but he claimed that he and many other werewolves were actually the hounds of God who were sent down to hell to kill witches and demons so that they couldn't come up to earth and take the spoiled grain from the failed crops. Which doesn't make sense to me other than I guess it's spoiled so that how people would eat it. Is that the point
I don't know, but his little, like,
the logic
story
didn't
work.
It was weird. Yeah, he got 10 lashings for being superstitious and something else.
Oh, I guess it did work, but he
didn't die. Yeah, he didn't die as a werewolf, but he got 10 lashings.
Werewolf cure medicinally, usually with the use of wolfsbane, which is actually poisonous, so it killed you.
Usually kill you.
And also by exorcism.
Aha. Which actually, like, that makes sense, because so Tim from Against All Oddities podcast, he recommended to me a movie called You Won't Be Alone, because he's like, it's really Slavic feeling, and it's kind of like, you know, scary, werewolfy. And it's a really interesting movie. It's on Peacock. You should check it out. Totally subtitles. Beautiful. But they call her the Wolf Eateress. And at one point when she is inside a dude and they think he's all weird, they try to exorcise him. And I was like, they're going to kill her. They're going to fucking kill her. They don't. They never find
I could totally see that because, you know, werewolves were hunted in Europe like witches.
Yeah.
They went along with the witch hunts.
They did.
But I think they did that also with vampires, right? They hunted vampires? Or were vampires?
I think that was a more Eastern European thing.
Oh.
I believe. I'm not sure, but I feel like that I did read that in like the France and Germany area, it was along with witches, and in Eastern Europe, it was along with vampires.
Dear God, Europe was so superstitious.
Yeah. Lots of dark woods to give your...
Catholicism.
Lots of dark woods to make your brain just start turning and turning.
Right.
And I mean, like, so really, werewolves were probably serial killers, guys. That was the first thing I ever learned about werewolves, honestly.
It does suck if I'm being real with you.
Yeah.
I like the idea of werewolves, not serial killers.
But it makes sense to me that they would be like, this member of our community has been killing people. Obviously, they're part animal. Obviously, they're not really a human, right?
Because you wouldn't want to admit that a human could be that shitty.
Right, and you wouldn't want to admit that somebody that you probably you went to church with all the time, you celebrated your holidays and births and weddings and all this stuff together, that really they were capable of doing those things to your loved ones that they did. And so you want to think that there was something worse at afoot, that there was something truly evil, which there was something truly evil. But you want to think that it wasn't the person that was truly evil, that it was an outside force maybe beyond their control. You know what I mean? Like, it makes me think of the Strength card in tarot, because the Strength card in tarot is almost always a person who is overcoming a beast, usually a lion. And it's supposed to represent us as people being able to overcome our animal instincts. And when you are somebody who does hurt others for your own pleasure or your own desires... Oh, my battery backup died.
Oh.
I wonder if the lighting changes.
Okay, I was like, did something happen to my thing? No,
well, actually, did it die or did it just turn off? Oh, yeah, it died. So... Yeah, I mean, it makes sense to me that you'd want to convince yourself.
Right, I get that. I think people do that to this day anyway. Maybe not necessarily spiritually saying, oh, they're witches, but something else.
No, they do. Like, people like to blame stuff. Like, I personally have had to get over wanting to blame other things. You know what I mean? You always want to blame something when something goes wrong. You want to be like, oh, okay, I'll call us witches out. We want to be like, oh, is it Mercury retrograde? Yes, it is.
It actually is.
You know, there's all those memes about like, oh, I'm acting out of character. What planets are out of alignment today? We all look for reasons.
Yes.
And whether I believe, which I totally believe, that the reasons are right when it is planets out of alignment. Yeah, exactly. Like, I do believe in those reasons. But looking for those kinds of reasons makes me understand why people look for the other kinds of reasons. You know what I mean? And it makes sense that you don't want to believe that about the people you care about. But, so here's some real talk then, because we kind of off the table talked and just now brought up the serial killer thing, and that's the most likely backstory to werewolves. So, do you believe werewolves are really a thing?
Absolutely. I do. But I always have, and I do believe in vampires too, so fucking sue me. You know, like, I just believe that there's more than people. You know, I also believe that there are angels walking among us, or whatever you want to call them.
Well, and I think for me, it's, I believe in shapeshifters. I do believe in shapeshifters. But I don't know if I believe in werewolves. Maybe
I should say what you're saying, because I believe in shapeshifters, but as for werewolves being like a monster, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, if you guys are on our YouTube, you will enjoy that visual. If you're not on YouTube, you missed what I just did there, because I forgot I was on camera.
I think I believe more the putting on the skin and then the gentle light and you fall. Like, it's beautiful in my head, because really like the light comes and then the person falls all fours and they're in the shape of a wolf. I believe in that, absolutely.
I really do. And like in that movie, like You Won't Be Alone, it's really fucking weird. She like puts some of the thing into her, and then she goes down into a wolf. So instead of putting the wolf skin over, she's putting the wolf skin in her. And then she straight up transformed into a wolf.
Fall into your,
yeah, she like just all fours like was a wolf.
But I think it's a gift. I don't think it's a curse. I think it's a gift that some people very rare have.
And in a way, in this movie, it was a gift. I mean, it was passed along. Like the wolf eatress had to pick. She gets one witch spit, is what they called it. She gets one witch spit, and when she does the witch spit, she claws, I guess right over the heart, because I'm pretty sure it was on this side. She claws, and there's 4 like distinct ass claw marks, and then she spits blood onto the wound, and then it like fucking shimmers gold and shit, and then that's where you can open up and put the material in to change, right? And it's like a gift. it is like a gift. They live longer because, like, they went through, like, this girl went through, like, a long time. She lived as multiple different people because she accidentally, I don't want to ruin it. But anyway, she lived a long time. And obviously, Old Maid Maria, the one that made the girl into a wolf eatress, she had been alive a long time. And I would assume that the lady that made Old Maid Maria into a wolf eatress had also been alive a really long time. And you know what? I'm just gonna throw this out here because I didn't tell you this part. Old Maid Maria, she was an old maid. That's why she was called Old Maid Maria. And so some dude's family sent for her to be like, hey, do you want to marry our son? She goes back with them after her father, like, gets the dowry. He's fucking, like, dying of tuberculosis.
Oh my god.
And they're like, we want you to marry him so that he can spread his seed before he dies.
Bitch, that's gonna spread his tuberculosis fucking
That's exactly what fucking happened.
Good god.
And then she goes and gets the witch mark because she's like, I don't want to die. And then she goes and drinks some blood to try and save her life. And then they burn her alive because she's a witch. You made her sleep with a fucking dude that was going to kill her so that he could go to heaven having not been a virgin. That was their whole point. They had to tie her down.
So it was rape?
Yeah. It's horrible. Like, I mean, it's not horrible. Like, they don't, I mean, it is horrible because of the whole concept. They don't show, like, he's, like, dying. Like, they are, like, it is awful. Like, that poor Old Maid Maria. I feel bad for her.
Old? That's so weird.
She's like in her late 30s at this point. But she's called Old Maid Maria because at that point she's an old maid.
27, no
yeah,
property or prospects.
Right, yeah, exactly. That was a Jane Eyre.
Jane Austen,
Jane Austen, my bad. Jane Austen reference. But, like, I can't believe that. Did that really happen to women? I feel like that's 100% accurate. I feel like that happened.
I feel like tuberculosis.
I feel like that's why it was in there.
Tuberculosis is still around, but there's a shot. But I didn't realize it's still so bad that, like, if you have it, they literally isolate you, and then they give you the shot, and you're in it for, like, a while.
Wow.
Also, wait, didn't the girl in Moulin Rouge die from tuberculosis?
I think so.
That bitch was fucking everyone. She was a prostitute. How was it not spread around?
I don't know, man. I don't know. All I know is, like, that shit fucked me up and I meant to tell you about it. But it's a beautiful movie. Don't let it discourage you from watching. Because, like, obviously, that scene is portrayed in how wrong it was that this was done to her. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like, oh, she needs to take her lumps, you know? It's like, this is why she is, you know, because she's, like, scarred from head to toe in most of the movie, and so now you find out why. It's fucked up, but it's a great movie, and she's a shapeshifter, so I guess I'll talk more about it when we do an actual shapeshifter episode, because I'm excited for that, because as I was reading about the werewolf stuff, I wanted to go into shapeshifter, and I was like, I bet we're going to do just a shapeshifter episode, because that in and of itself
I know.
is
It's,
like
well, and it's a spiritual thing.
Yeah, it is.
It's
yeah.
werewolf is more like pop culture
Paranormal,
and legend
yeah.
and paranormal, whereas shapeshifter is more of a
definitely spiritual. Absolutely, yeah. Because, like, there's so much to go into there.
Which we will at a later date.
We will. So tell us what you guys think about werewolves on Twitter at Classiest Witches, because I truly want to know what your thoughts are, because, like, just like Bigfoot, which was the last episode, if you haven't listened, go back and listen now that this one's over. But, like, just like there's so much Bigfoot stuff, there's so much different werewolf stuff. Like, where do you lie with it? I'm curious.
And don't forget to find us on Instagram at Witches Talking Tarot. And if you're watching on YouTube, like and subscribe and comment. Help us get our engagement up.
We'd love that. Yes. Speaking of things we love, hey Melissa, we love you.
Yes.
Yes, and Melissa gets a shout out because she's one of our patrons on Patreon. She's our top tier patron. If you would like to know what it's all about, go to patreon.com/Witches Talking Tarot. And
we will see you
all
next
that
week.
jazz. Thanks for coming to sit with us for a spell.